They say moms always want the best for their children. Mine wanted my money more than my happiness. I was 29 when I left for London, a business trip that was supposed to last 3 weeks. I had just bought my dream house in California, a modern mansion overlooking the Pacific, floor-to-ceiling windows, infinity pool, everything I had worked for since college. Before leaving, I handed the keys to my mom. She had raised me alone after my dad died, and I trusted her with everything. I even told her, "Mom, make yourself comfortable. It's your home, too." She smiled, hugged me, and said, "You're my pride, son." But when love meets greed, even pride becomes poison. Halfway through my trip, I started noticing strange things. My property manager's calls went unanswered. My security system went offline. And then one morning, I received an email from a real estate agency. "Congratulations, your property sale has been completed successfully." At first, I thought it was spam. But then I saw the address, my house, sold, cash deal. My heart stopped. I called my mom. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. I flew back that night, my mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. When I arrived, everything was gone. My cars, my furniture, my art, even the family photos from the living room. And standing in my driveway was a new family, smiling, holding house keys. I stammered, "This is my home." The man said, "Not anymore, buddy. We bought it last week." I wanted to scream, but instead, I called my lawyer. The next morning, I found her, my mom, sitting in a cafe 2 towns away, wearing designer clothes I'd never seen before, sipping champagne like she owned the world. When she saw me, her face turned pale. "Why, Mom?" I asked. "Why would you sell my house?" She didn't even flinch. She looked at me and said, "Because you owe me. I gave you everything. Your childhood, your education, your life. You can always buy another house. I deserve this one." I couldn't believe the words coming from her mouth. She had used a power of attorney document I'd signed years earlier, back when I was hospitalized after an accident. She took that signature, found a crooked notary, and sold my house legally under my name. When I told her I'd go to the police, she laughed. "You won't. You'll just look like an ungrateful son. Who'll believe you over your sweet old mother?" That night, I sat in a cheap motel room staring at the ceiling. I'd lost everything. But I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was calculating. Because what my mom didn't know was that the house wasn't fully mine to sell. See, when I bought that property, half of it was held in a philanthropic trust, under the name of my late father. I had set it up years ago to honor him. The paperwork clearly stated, "Any unauthorized sale of the property without the trustee's consent is considered fraud under federal law." And guess who the trustee was? My dad's lifelong lawyer, Mr. Pierce. When I told him what happened, he almost dropped his coffee. Within 24 hours, he filed a full fraud report with the state. The sale was frozen, and the new owners were notified that the title was invalid. But I didn't stop there. I hired a private investigator who found out that my mom had moved all the sale money, $3.2 million, into an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. She was planning to disappear, so I set a trap. I called her and said calmly, "Mom, I forgive you. Let's meet. I want to talk." She hesitated, but greed always wins curiosity. When she arrived at my old house, she saw 2 black cars parked out front. Federal agents from the Financial Crimes Unit. I walked up to her and said, "You wanted my house? Congratulations. You'll be spending the next few years thinking about it, in a government facility." Her smile faded instantly as the agents read her rights. She tried to speak, but her voice broke. "Son, please, I did it for us." I looked her in the eyes one last time and said, You did it for yourself. The U.S. died the day you sold my home. They took her away. And for the first time in my life, I felt nothing. The court froze all her accounts. The buyer got their money back through insurance. The property reverted to my trust. Within 6 months, I had my house and my peace back. But I couldn't bring myself to move in again. Every room carried a ghost of trust, love, and betrayal. So I did something that surprised everyone. I donated the mansion to a nonprofit that builds homes for orphans. I turned the place, where greed destroyed family, into a sanctuary for children who never had one. When the press asked me why, I said, because home isn't made of walls or money, it's made of honesty. And I'd rather build that for someone else. Months later, I visited my mom in prison. She looked older, smaller, weaker. She whispered through the glass, "Do you hate me?" I said softly, "No, Mom, I don't hate you. But I finally learned, love without respect is just manipulation." She cried, but I walked away. Now, every time I drive past that house, I see children playing in the garden where greed once lived. And I smile. Because losing my home gave me something bigger, a new definition of family.